Oh, that hip fire. That hip fire. Oh shit. Oh boy. Okay, okay. We're all good.
What's going on YouTube, Talon here, and welcome to another Battlefield 4 commentary. And before I get started, let me just say a big congrats to the US for pulling through and making it to the top 16 of the World Cup. If any of you know me, I'm a huge soccer fan, and I know the US is not the best team, but I always have to cheer them on whenever they play. So congrats to them. Now, getting back to the gameplay at hand, and more importantly, the weapons that we are going to take a look at today. If you have not already known, if you have access to the CTE version of Battlefield 4, DICE has given us access to the new Dragons Teeth DLC weapons. So most of them that you've probably heard of are the Desert Eagle, the UNICA 6, the Bulldog, and MPX. And I know there's a couple others, but I'm not going to get into every single one of them. And today I wanted to talk about the MPX PDW and the UNICA 6 pistol, which I personally have just fallen in love with, which is unusual actually, because I actually don't usually use PDWs in main conquest matches, because let's face it, PDWs are meant for close quarters and they have great hip fire, high rate of fire, but for those long distances on those huge maps like Goldmud Railway, just doesn't cut it sometimes. So now I'm not huge into gun stats and stuff, and I'm not the best player by any means, but I thought I'd provide you with some of the basics that most of the community has taken a look at, because we don't have the official stats out yet, since the full release of the weapons and everything is not slated for release yet. But I do want to just take a look at the basics and kind of just give you my overall thoughts and what I think of them and how I like them. Now, first off, taking a look at the MPX, which is the PDW for the Dragons Teeth DLC. It's definitely an interesting weapon. A lot of people are actually comparing it to the MK5 from Battlefield 3, but there is some difference to it. So the first one right off the bat is that it has a max damage of 27 in close quarters, and then it drops off to 13 at those longer distances. And the rate of fire is 850, which is pretty high. I think the only weapons that beat it are the CZ and the J2 and maybe the P90 and the MP9, but nonetheless, it's definitely a very high RPM. Now, because of this interesting damage model, it actually comes with only 25 in the clip and 26 if you have one in the chamber. So it's kind of reminds me of the FAMAS in those terms. The FAMAS only has 26 total, and you definitely tear through bullets in that gun pretty fast. So, but when I first picked this up, in CTE we have every optic accessory unlocked. So I slapped it on with the Cobra sight, because that is my favorite sight to use with most weapons, except for snipers obviously. And then threw on a laser sight because this is a PDW. And then I actually threw the suppressor on and the stubby grip. Now, a lot of YouTubers and people I've talked with are saying, oh, just use the ergo grip. I mean, you want to play this thing to its strengths, which I totally agree with. But it kind of reminds me of the AS Val in terms of, since you're going to be chewing through ammo quite fast, and it's got that high rate of fire, I'm not the best at recoil control. So I decided, okay, I'll throw the stubby grip on, and why not? Let's try and stay at the mini-map. Now, I have used it without the suppressor as well, and it's a very good weapon, but when I was using the suppressor, and I was able to take some guys out at range there. And you'll see in a clip here in the video, I take out a sniper on the bridge on Flood Zone, and they do not know what hit them. So now, like any new weapon that I have to pick up, or any of us pick up in Battlefield 4 for that matter, I had to obviously first get used to the way that the recoil would go. And if I know my recoil somewhat, it's basically like any PDW, where the side-to-side recoil is pretty low, and then the vertical recoil has definitely a pretty decent kick because of that high RPM. And at first I was definitely getting killed, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, what did I expect? Another PDW. But the more and more I played with it, I was actually fairly impressed that, and maybe it was because of the higher damage model and such, but I definitely liked it a lot better than, complain about, like the MX4 that we have to start out with when you originally get the game. The UMP45 is considered one of the best because it's a slow rate of fire, so it's easier to aim and you can actually hit at those longer distances. But I'm not sure. I mean, we'll have to see how this gun turns out in the full retail version of the DLC when it comes out, which I think, if rumors are to be true and everything, should be coming out here in the beginning of July. Now, don't take my word for that. There are rumors going all over, Reddit and forums and stuff, and, no one really knows right now, but there have been quite a few saying that we're going to get this DLC on either July 1st, which is a Tuesday, which is actually next week, or it'll be the Tuesday after that, which would make a little more sense in my opinion because it is after the 4th of July here for the US. So, but getting back to the MPX, just playing around with the weapon and using it in matches, I was definitely taking out people left and right. It's not overpowered by any means. You definitely have a little bit more of a kick in the recoil, and because you have less bullets in the magazine, because of that higher damage, you definitely chew through your ammo quite a bit. And the reload isn't the shortest. It's not the longest, but it's definitely not the shortest. So you definitely got to be conservative with your ammo. Now, another weapon I wanted to look at as well, because as many of you know, I love using the Magnum back in Battlefield 3, and a lot of people did. It was a skill cannon, it didn't have that stupid trigger delay that we have in Battlefield 4, and so one of the two pistols that we get in this DLC is the Desert Eagle, which everybody is really excited about, and then we also get something called the UNICA 6. Now, the UNICA 6 looks and feels like the Magnum quite a bit. The only difference is not only its damage model, but also the way that you have to use it. So, I know the damage in close range, you're going to one-shot headshot those guys if you can get that shot off. It's got that skill cannon aspect to it. But where it changes is where you're standing still and where you're aiming down sights. If you have the Magnum, man, you can just fire that thing from a long distance, bam, headshot across the map, you're good to go. But the UNICA 6 damage model actually drops off fairly severely out of range. So you definitely have to get a couple shots in there, even if you get a headshot. But the thing I like about it is that I can move around with it, and it's definitely better at moving around and killing people as you're moving. Because, as you know, your aiming down sight's accuracy or just, be pretty terrible if you're moving more likely than not. Another thing I really like about it, and I've already stated this before, is there is no trigger delay. I know DICE was trying to go for the realism here, but seriously, did we really need the trigger delay in the game? Nobody uses these pistols. I still try using the Magnum because I keep having this sliver of hope that, hey, you know what, this is going to be good, I'll get that, that shot off, it'll be a cool recording, whatnot, but I don't know, I'm starting to get a little tired of trying to use it, so I'm really hoping that they do not keep the trigger delay with the UNICA 6. If you have heard anything about that, please let me know in the comments below, because I'd really like to know about that. Aside from that, though, with the MPX and the UNICA 6, I have tried out, the Bulldog and everything, and I want to get a little more playtime in with those before giving my initial impressions on them, but so far, I'm really liking the weapons that we'll be getting with the Dragons Teeth DLC, and I really hope that comes out soon. And like I stated before in the video, now we should be getting this sometime in, the summer still. The premium calendar still says summer of 2014, and that can go all the way to the end of August. So, let's hope that you get this pretty soon, but at the same time, we want this to be a good DLC. I made a video earlier in the year about how important Dragon's Teeth is to the Battlefield 4, because it's kind of like the aftermath for Battlefield 3. And if you want to look at that video, I've got the link in the description, and I've also got it at a link at the end of the video. But other than that, guys, I've had a blast with these weapons so far, and I hope DICE can just really nail down the netcode so that this can also help us as well. I know they had that big patch with the netcode out, and I know they've been changing CTE every left, right, and center, but I feel like there's still some hit lag. It might be, my internet connection sometimes. It's actually better now that I've moved away from college, and I will get many, many more videos out since I've graduated now and actually have a little bit of free time. But until we're able to get all these fixes, into the main version of the game, and I have a feeling the biggest problem is since they give people the option to set the the tick rate to high, medium, or low, and either people don't know that you can set it, or people just don't have that good of internet, because let's face it, the US has horrible internet. It still makes it pretty bad. So, until they can fully fix that, or just simply make it like, look, you have to keep this at 30. No, come on, guys. We're in the modern age here. Let's not try to give this horrible tick rate, which then creates all these frustrating times playing the game, and none of us want that. So, but other than that, guys, I am enjoying all of the Dragons Teeth DLC weapons, and I really cannot wait for the next DLC. So, if you guys yourself are in the CTE and you've had a chance to test out these weapons, or something like the Bulldog, which I've not had a lot of time with yet, let me know down in the comments below. Are you liking these? Are they overpowered? Are they not? Give me the goods and the bads. I want to get some conversations going here. So until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.